Well, welcome back. I'm Alex Miceli, and this is my one take for, well, the end of the regular season. But let's not get there yet. The PGA Tour is next. But let's talk about maybe what was the most compelling thing that happened on the golf course. Let's keep it there, on the golf course this week. And that was a Japanese player who is a rookie on her tour, has never played outside Japan, and won the Women's British Open. How is that even possible? Hanako Shibuno, how is that possible? 20-year-old woman that nobody really ever knew anything about. Obviously in Japan they did, but even then, as a rookie, how would you know much about her? But boy, no question who played the best. I mean, 20 years old and looked like she'd been playing for years on what is a very difficult golf course, even though it wasn't a links course. A very difficult golf course at Woburn, showed the tenacity that is necessary to win. It just shows you these younger players, they just have no fear. We talk about it all the time, no fear at all. In this case, Hanako had no fear. You know, her nickname is the Smiling Cinderella? How is that even possible? Where do you get a nickname at 20? Anyways. JT Poston, North Carolina kid, grew up in Hickory, went to Western Carolina, played pretty well, got on the PGA Tour, has his first win where? North Carolina. Of course, it all makes sense now, obviously. Wins the Wyndham Championship, does it in style, not since 1974. That's right, 7-4. Not since 1974 has a player won with not having a hole over par. No bogeys, no double bogeys, no nothing. Just all pars and birdies and eagles. JT Poston, by the way, 74, Lee Trevino. You remember that name, Lee Trevino? What a great guy. Okay, so the regular season is done, kaput, over. I don't know what you say. You know, the best player in the world is on top of the FedEx Cup rankings. It's going to be the top player that's going to be at Liberty National for the first playoff event, Northern Trust. Obviously, we're going from 4 to 3, so it'll be Northern Trust, BMW, and then the Tour Championship Atlanta. And then what are we thinking about then? Football. You know it. Brooks Koepka, though, looks like he could play football as well as obviously being the best player in the world. And how will Brooks Koepka not win the FedEx Cup? I don't know. I have no idea, because he'd be my pick for sure. There's no question. Oddly enough, 108 players made $1 million this year on the 2018-2019 PGA Tour season. It's a lot, right? You know, 108. 114 did it last year. I have no reason why to suggest anything crazy about it. I don't have an answer to the question, but I can tell you that it's going to grow even more in 2019, 2020 as the purses go up, as the FedEx Cup play system goes up, as only 65 guys are making the cut versus 70. By the way, I meant to say this earlier about the Wyndham. What happened to Jordan Spieth? And I mean that. What happened to Jordan Spieth, who was actually in contention after Friday's round and then MDF'd after Saturday's round? Really no explanation for that. And I'm sure Jordan Spieth has no explanation for that. And I guess we can all say it's golf, but at that level, it can't be golf that badly. There's always surprises in golf. There's always surprises. Every week we could probably figure out some crazy, goofy thing. So when Lexi Thompson decided to miss the cut at Avion, take her passport, put it in her travel equipment, and have it taken away by a bus driver with all the other women's bags, because they were going from France, they were going to England. Be easier if they just put all the bags on a van. PGA Tour does this all the time, drive from point A to point B. But Lexi, for some reason, had her passport in that bag, and they actually had the gall to call the driver to stop him hours away from France, to stop him so that Lexi Thompson's caddy, not Lexi, her caddy, could make the drive to go get the passport and bring it back to Lexi Thompson so she could get on a plane and fly to England. Really? Not only did that screw everything up in regards to getting the bags or everything else, there were something like 40 women who were disadvantaged trying to get prepared for the Women's British Open. Now, Lexi Thompson was surprising, but what Thorborg Olsen did played on the Ryder Cup last time round. What he did in his travel story is beyond surprising. It's disgusting. First off, there was some groping involved in regards to Olson and a female passenger in first class. That's indefensible. There's no conversation about that. I don't care how drunk you are, you cannot touch another person without their permission. That's a no-no. Secondly, he was unwilling to listen to the airline's personnel on the plane in regards to safety issues. I mean, obviously he was out of control. Even Ian Poulter, who was on the same flight in the same cabin, which was first class, suggested he tried to calm Olson down. That didn't work. Lastly, Olson obviously mistook the aisle in first class for the toilet in the lavatory. Now, Olson was arrested at Heathrow Airport when he arrived from Memphis after playing in the WGC FedEx Championship, was eventually released. He should be in jail right now because that's what would happen to anyone else that did something like that. That is just totally disgusting, and what will happen to Olson, I don't know, but the likelihood is that he is looking at jail time, and he should be. One last thing. The U.S. Amateur and the U.S. Women's Amateur, when they win, they're kind of constrained. They can't turn professional because if they do, they're going to lose their opportunity to play in the U.S. Women's Open or the U.S. Men's Open until today. The USGA, in what is clearly a very, very good decision, has decided that if you turn professional after winning these events, you are not going to lose your exemption into the U.S. Open or the U.S. Women's Open. Nor should you. What would be the reason? Just because you turn professional, you earn the right by the win. That's how it comes out. And that's finally what the USGA has determined as well. What'll be interesting to see is what will the Masters do now? Because the Masters has the same rule that if you win the U.S. Amateur, if you are still an amateur when the event comes up, you can play in our event. What if you are not an amateur? I'm Alex Miceli. Looking forward to talking about FedEx Cup playoffs next week. Have a good week.